As we are about to begin, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few housekeeping notes to make before we begin with this webinar. Firstly, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Please switch off the microphone and switch on the camera throughout the event if possible. To everyone's knowledge, do stay tuned until the end of this webinar as you might have a chance to win cash prizes during our KHALIQ session. Best wishes to everyone. And now, before the event begins, I would like to ask everyone here to fill in the Google form for your attendance, which will be linked shortly in the chat box below. Or you may simply scan the QR code that appears on your screen later. Please remind that this registration link is for session 2. Your cooperation is much appreciated. housekeeping notes to make before we begin with this webinar. Firstly, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Please switch off the microphone and switch on the camera throughout the event if possible. To everyone's knowledge, do stay tuned until the end of this webinar as you might have a chance to win cash prizes during our Kahoot sessions. Best wishes to everyone. And now, before the event begins, I would like to ask everyone here to fill in the Google form for your attendance, which will be linked shortly in the text box below, or you may scan the QR code that will appear on your screen later. Please remind that this registration link is for session 2. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you very much. As we are about to begin, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few housekeeping notes to make before everyone begin with this webinar. Firstly, I would like to seek your cooperation in completing this webinar. Please switch off the microphone and switch on the camera throughout the event if possible. To everyone's knowledge, do stay tuned until the end of this webinar as you might have a chance to win cash prizes during our Kahoot sessions. Best wishes to everyone. And now, before the event begins, I would like to ask everyone here to fill in the Google form for your attendance, which will be linked shortly in the chat box below, or you may simply scan the QR code that appears on your screen right now. Please remind that this registration link is for session 2. Your cooperation is much appreciated. Thank you very much. The webinar will now begin with the singing of National Anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan Serta UiTM. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan Serta UiTM. self-improvement, enhance leadership skills within organizations. I am Zulaika Zikifli and I will be your MC for tonight. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Yang berusaha Encik Abdul KHALIQ bin Abdul Rahman Putra, Assistant Vice President of Manpower Planning and Recruitment Unit MPR Pengurusan AIS Selangor. Yang berusaha Madam Chiu Zi Siong, Program Advisor of Webinar Self-Improvement and Leadership Skill within Organizations. Saudari Nur Akila Nabilah binti Musa, Head of Project of Self-Improvement and Leadership Skill within Organizations, fellow committees, audience and students. To begin our journey with blessing and protections, I would like to invite Saudara Ahmad Zarif bin Zainal Abidin Sabli to lead the doa recitations. Please welcome.
A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most beautiful. Allahumma antal azizul jalil. Indeed, we gather ourselves this eventful evening for the self-improvement and enhanced leadership skills within organization event. We would like to express our gratitude and praises towards your precious blessings. Allahumma ya Hakim ya Azim. Indeed, we gather here to express our earnestness, commitment, and determination with our souls to develop, educate, and to dignify the people of our beloved motherland, and to be virtuous and meritorious to our religion, our races, and our beloved homeland. Hence, to bless our gathering, to bless all of our efforts, inspire in our minds and thoughts with wise ideas, with clear minds and wise decisions. O Allah, the most gracious one, bless us with useful knowledge and literal understanding. Unite our hearts, strengthen the bonds among ourselves, empower our energy and efforts to enhance our beloved motherland's education, together to achieve excellence and glory for the sake of our beloved motherland. Allahumma ya Alim wa ya Khabir. O Allah, the most merciful one, please let us be among those who are in your good grace. Prevent us from disobeying you in your orders. Award us with long-lasting health, perfect well-being, with a sane mind, with an active thoughts, righteous fortune, a faithful descendant, and generation with long-lasting kindness here and hereafter. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala washabihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin.
Amin Amin Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Saudara Ahmad Zarif, for the beautiful doa recitations. Alright. Before we begin, I would like to invite Saudari Nur Akila Nabilah binti Musa, our head of project, to give an opening speech. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Saudari Zulaika, yang berusaha Encik Abdul KHALIQ bin Abdul Rahman Putra, Assistant Vice President of Manpower Planning and Recruitment Unit MPR at Pengurusan AIS Selangor. Yang berusaha Madam Chiu Zi Siong, Program Advisor of Webinar Self-Improvement Enhanced Leadership Skills within Organization, fellow committees and students. Alhamdulillah, we are glad for the Almighty Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala mercy in allowing us to all gather in this webinar on self-improvement enhanced leadership skills within organization. I would like to thank the invited speaker, guests of honors, as well as students who are willing to spend time with us on this wonderful night on behalf of the committees. It is anticipated that everyone's presence would help enliven the session today. Before I begin, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nur Akila Nabilah binti Musa, and I am the head of project of the Self-Improvement Enhanced Leadership Skills within Organization. This webinar is held to provide all students an early taste of what is expected in the professional field once they graduate. Furthermore, our webinar aims to broaden students' general knowledge of etiquette, morals, self-image, and most importantly, attitude. Last but not least, this webinar provides an excellent platform for students to begin learning how to develop themselves to become the greatest version of themselves. My honorable audience, it is hoped that this webinar will be beneficial to all students and guests present here today. Hopefully, the goal of the self-improvement enhanced leadership skills within organization webinar will be met usefully. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the participants who volunteered to take part in this forum. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Albert Einstein. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Saudari Nur Akilana Bila, for the opening speech just now. Before I introduce our speaker for the night, I'm sorry. Now, let me introduce our speaker for today's webinar. ENCIK Abdul Khaliq bin Abdul Rahman Putra is the Assistant Vice President of Manpower Planning and Recruitment Unit MPR at Pengurusan Air Selangor, Kuala Lumpur. With nearly 10 years of experience as recruitment consultant specializing in outsourcing and internal hiring across multiple industries, he had a vision that one day the world will select and hire people based on their capabilities and skill rather than their gender, race, or other characteristics that could lead to discrimination. Teaching is not his passion, but sharing the vision of a better future is his way of contributing to the achievement of this goal. And now, please welcome our speaker for the night, ENCIK Abdul Khaliq bin Abdul Rahman Putra, to share his knowledge on the self-improvement and enhanced leadership skill within organizations.
Thank you so much. Testing. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much to Ms. Zulaiha, our MC today. Thank you so much to Ms. Akila for inviting me today. I believe Ms. Akila is our head of project today. And also I would like to say my gratitude to Ms. Madam Chu. I think this is the second time I actually meeting her. Before I start, let me recite Batul Hajat for a while. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad kama shallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali sayyidina Ibrahim fil alamin innaka Hamidum Majid. Amma ba'd. Thank you so much again to everyone who are actually participating here today. I'm not really very fluent in English, to be honest. So pardon my language if I were to actually mix it up with a few Malay language. So as you know, I guess, as you can see, basically I'm a mixed Java, mixed Banja, and mixed Chinese a bit. So basically, there's a few races blood actually runs through my veins lah. So basically, guys, thank you so much again. I think this is a very good opportunity, not only for you guys, but also to myself to actually share a few things that I believe this is actually out of my comfort zones. We're talking about leadership or self-improvement related to leadership as well. So previously, I think last year, the last time I actually met Madam Chu, we were talking about resumes as well as interview preparation, if not mistaken. So tonight we are going to explore and together on how we can actually prepare ourselves in terms of leadership skills and why leadership is actually something that is very critical. If you ask me, to be honest, actually I highlighted it to my team even during my early days when I joined Selangor. So basically, if we were to talk about leadership, I would suggest that everyone would know basically what is the meaning by leadership, what is the meaning of managers or executive. So, but if you do not know about it, maybe I can just briefly explain a little bit about how the leadership or management works in the working environment. Okay, so basically in the working environment, once you completed your degree or your diploma, you enter your working environment. This is your first day in the office. So normally you will actually see there's a few levels of working status hierarchy in the company. For example, we have the non-executive roles. We also have the executive roles. We also have the management roles. So the management would be most of the time we consider them as a leader. Executive, most of the time you call them as sometimes you call them as the middle management. Okay, but in the big corporation companies, the management would be considered as the middle management. Who's the top management? The CEO the board of directors, CFO, and CFO is Chief Financial Officer. So CEO is Chief Executive Officer. Then we have also, I think CVO is the new one, Chief Visionary Officer. So, and we have a few titles there. So this is basically the top level management. Then the middle management will be the manager, senior manager, assistant general manager, or senior manager, or something like that. So that is the middle management in the big corporation, for example, like Selangor. And we also have the executive level. We have from associate executive, the junior executive. We also have the senior executive. And then we have the non-executive people. So the non-executive people normally comprise of people who have from SPM level up until diploma level. So most of the time. So this is the basic hierarchy in most of the companies, whether in Malaysia or overseas. So basically, if you would talk about hierarchy itself, I don't really like the terms hierarchy. I don't really like when actually people say about hierarchies also. Whoever on top as the rank on the top people will be considered as the people who should be leading the team. They should, but most of the time you are managing the team, which is wrong. A wrong concept, you ask me, to be honest, because people doesn't like to be managed and people could not be managed. Betul tak, Zarif? Kan? So if you talk about managing people, kan? How can you manage people? You cannot manage people. You can actually lead them. People like to be lead. They don't like to be managed. We are not robots. We are not machines that can be managed easily. Okay, so biasanya kita as a human, we like to be lead. We like to be inspired. We like to be driven by a purpose. So for example, if you look into big leaders, siapa yang big leaders in the world at the moment, you can see Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. And she's the youngest prime minister, if I'm not mistaken, in the world. But she actually been voted a few years in a row as the best leaders among the world. Kenapa bukan US? Why not Vladimir Putin? Why not Joe Biden or Justin Trudeau or someone like maybe our own prime minister, right? So we have our own few prime ministers here in Malaysia as well. But why are they not been voted as the number one leader, but Jacinda is? Because she's willing to do the right thing for the people, and she's willing to sacrifice her belief for the people. She willing to sacrifice her, not belief, sorry. She willing to sacrifice herself for the needs of the people. So a leader is actually leads by vision. They are not leading by manage people by fear. Last time we used to have a fear kind of dictatorship in Malaysia last time. Kan, zaman Malaysia sebelum Merdeka, if you can see. We are led by fear. By whom? By the British, by the Japanese, by the communists. So all these people, they actually govern the countries using fear. So fear governs the people. But nowadays, we are governed by leadership. But in 1970s, after our independence, but in 1970s, there's a shift in the world where the most of majority of the companies started to implement what they call as a shareholder supremacy. Ini kena faham ni, kenapa dunia berubah. And shareholder supremacy is a concept popularized in 80s and 90s, whereby they actually use layoff to balance the book. Meaning that, for example, if the company actually targeted, this year we are going to achieve 100 millions in terms of profit after tax. But they actually miss out like few 100,000 or few 100 million. So apa yang dia buat? Dia buang orang. So they lay off the people. Just to make sure they will achieve their goal of 100 million profit, achieve at the end of the year. At the end of the financial year. They call it the financial year lah. Tak kisahlah financial year, it can be actually from bulan 12, it can be actually end around bulan 4. It depends on the company. So most of the company nowadays, they actually use that as what? As a medium. What kind of medium? Meaning that they actually use layoff as a medium to justify their profits. They actually count the numbers rather than the heart. They don't count the heart anymore. So this is a popular philosophy given in I nak share kejap lagi tapi tak apa, it's okay, you guys can share for one. No worries. So at the end of the day, people can what happen is people actually use mass layoff just to not remove everyone in the company, to make sure the books actually, to make sure the profit actually achieved. So what this brings to the people? Orang dah tak loyal to the company. Orang dah tak focus on staying in one company for quite a long time. If you can see nowadays, for example lah, I think kalau kita tanya Akila or Zulaikha or Zarif or Rashidah or anyone here, you can see nowadays the trend. Betul tak? If you can see nowadays the trend, the youngsters nowadays, kalau diorang start kerja 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month or 2 months, by even like less than a year, most of them will actually resign from the company. And why? Kenapa this thing become a trend nowadays? Why suddenly a lot of people actually resign, even though this generation, bila kita tanya what do you want to keep you to make sure that you actually stay in the company, what do you guys stay? What do you guys mention actually in the meeting room? Bila orang tanya, what make you actually going to stay in this company? Oh, we want free foods, we want bin bags, we want flexible working hours, we want apa lagi? Kita nak pergi office pakai t-shirt, tak nak pakai baju kemeja dah. So we want all these benefits. But still, at the end of the day, people still resign. So this is because the shareholder supremacy introduced in 1970s. Menyebabkan nobody actually loyal to the company because the company doesn't loyal to the people. So this is the first thing you can understand because it affects your mentality in the working environment. Why? Because if you do not stay loyal in the company a year or two, you only think about making an impact for whatever reason. You not buat impact, tapi you kerja for 6 months, you doesn't feel an impact, and suddenly you want to resign. Bila kita tanya, why do you want to quit? I don't feel comfortable working here. I don't see a vision working here. So the company doesn't focus on vision anymore because the company focus on profit. Yes, they mentioned to you, oh, kita punya company actually visionary companies. We actually focus on making the sustainability. We are going to focus on improving the human life and the general. By the end of the day, the book doesn't say that way. At the end of the day, they lay off people just to make sure they gain the profit. At the end of the day, if anything happens to the company, even during COVID-19, me myself, I was among the factor who been kena buang daripada company syarikat. Saya sendiri antara orang yang affected by the company because the company want to make sure the company can sustain, so they lay off the people. Why not the company actually say to us, it's okay, we are not going to take a few months salary just to make sure we're able to sustain it. I'm willing to stay with the company. But the company did a drastic action just to lay off everyone to make sure they actually manage to keep the Mercedes of the boss. Betul tak? The boss have to pay for the Mercedes, so they lay off the people. At the end of the day, company sustain? No, the company doesn't sustain. The company can create loyalty. Because why? Why should I loyal to you when you actually cannot be loyal to the employees? So this is the things that you kena faham. Whenever you want to make an impact, you must actually remember that you are not on the wrong side of the road. Youngsters nowadays have to focus on making sure they actually stay in the company, not because of the company, but making sure that you actually gain value before you can actually move to another company. So that value will create a leadership value. You have to make sure you learn every single thing from your current boss. Make sure you gain a good boss, learn from them, make sure you absorb every single knowledge, skill sets, and then after that, you become the boss that you never had. Kalau contoh, for example, your boss, dia ada 10 good things about him, 1 bad thing about him. So 1 bad things that you remove. Ataupun dia ada 9 bad things about him, but 1 good things, then you take 1 thing. But you must make sure you stay there at least a year before you make a move. Because if you less than a year, you takkan dapat jadi expert. An expert, you have to make sure you at least a year lah. Nowadays, I can see the trend nowadays, people actually left the company less than a year, which is wrong lah, I would say. Because you cannot be an expert without, actually should be 3 years lah. But I can see the people nowadays, generation nowadays, they're actually very fast learner. So they can actually learn faster compared to the older generation due to the social media, due to the all these things kan. Betul tak? So all these things, bila people bisa belajar, dia rasa macam seronok. Betul tak? Kan? Kalau macam Zulaikha kan, kalau you cuba belajar nowadays, dia rasa seronok nak belajar. Why? Sebab everything is easily accessible. Knowledge is commodity. So kalau knowledge commodity, it's no longer a privilege. It's no longer something that people, whoever got degree, people say last time, whoever got degree for sure you're going to have a job. It's no longer the true anymore. But knowledge, degree is a way for you to be able to step up to the corporate world. Sebab apa? Sebab the knowledge that you gain, bukan the cert, the knowledge that you actually learn during your time in your study is the one who are going to make sure you learn how the process of thinking, making decision, leadership. Like for example, like Akilah, how he leads the team now. Betul lah Akilah, you lead a very big team to organize this event. So how you manage the team? So you ask, okay Zulaika, you know, Akilah have to manage the people. Akilah have to see who's the competent person to become the MC. So dia tengok Zulaika. Dia bukan tengok rupa je kan. Betul cantik Zulaika, tak nafi kan. Tapi it's not about only the looks, but it's also about the competencies. Betul tak? Kan? So macam Zarif. So mungkin ada something yang ada Zarif ada, mungkin someone else doesn't have. Menyebabkan Zarif is part of your team as well. Kan? Maybe because so for example people like Akilah, maybe someone appointed her, or maybe actually after Muzakara you guys actually appointed Akilah to become your group leader. Why? Because she shows leadership qualities. Okay, so basically you know, now basically people will actually understand kenapa zaman dulu people actually stay, because prior to 1970s people actually open up a company and they actually manage the company as a family. But prior to that and after 1970s, companies become a profit-making agencies. But nowadays, the movement to make the company to become a family again is gaining momentum. So your job nowadays as the youngsters to make sure this momentum proceed. Okay. So ni aku jadual kuliah pula ni. Okay, boleh tak? Next slide. Boleh. Okay, you nak slide? I can share the screen if you want. I can share the screen. You want to use? If you want to share the screen, just go proceed to the next slide. Okay. Alright, leadership skills are considered critical traits necessary to get to the top of any career field. There's no doubt. You nak buka berniaga sendiri ke, you nak buat apa, every single things in this world nowadays require leadership. Even if you start your own family after this kan, for example like Rashidah ke kan, Zarif ke, nampak nama Rashidah dengan Zarif je sini kan, itu orang lain kan, so Hakim ke kan, so forever as a guy, one day by hook or by crook you are going to become a leader to your family. Even if you are not a leader to your family, maybe you tak nak kahwin or something like that, you're still a leader to yourself. So as a leader, you must make sure you portray a few things as a traits. What kind of traits yang kita kena ada as a leader? You have to practice leadership. Leadership is not born. Yes, some people are born with leadership, but leadership can be trained. Leadership is something, is attainable trait. It's attainable traits. It's something yang you boleh belajar tau. Jangan anggap leadership ni something, you nampak Akilah ni bagus kan. Dah lah pandai, lepas tu boleh cakap, lepas tu boleh lead orang. She was gifted with it. So yes, people sometimes are born with it, but it can be trained. Maybe Akilah membesar tengok parents dia yang lead that way. So she have that capabilities to lead the team because she actually foresee that her parents actually leads the family like that. But some people like myself mungkin tak dapat macam tu. So I have to develop and train their leadership skills. So how to train a leadership skills? One of the things that you can emphasize on is actually practice empathy. Kalau bahasa Melayu ni husnuzan lah. Kan? Bahasa Melayu lah. Bahasa Arab husnuzan. Actually apa dia husnuzan? Empathy, practice, bersangka baik. Please, everyone have to start practicing bersangka baik and do good to everyone. For example lah, kalau you drive kereta, kan, tengah-tengah nak drive, nak pergi kelas, tiba-tiba ada kereta potong kat depan, dekat traffic light. Ni kalau Zulaika tengok dia, aku ni rapat ke, aku belakang undur sikit bagi dia masuk. Tak adalah undur, tapi you give the room to actually for that person to actually cut it. Most of the people, including myself, kan, kita tu apa rapat kan, jangan bagi dia potong. Oi, kau ajar Muhammad ni kan. Bagi rapat, jangan bagi dia potong. So that is not practice empathy. Mana kita tahu mungkin dia dalam keadaan kecemasan, tiba-tiba mungkin wife dia nak beranak ke, kan, mungkin dia punya bos dah panggil meeting, urgent meeting, dia punya saudara mara sakit or something like that inside the car, kita tak nampak, mungkin tinted gelap ke apa kan. So ataupun mungkin memang dia kurang ajar orang kan, Allah malam lah kan. But at the end of the day, that is not the case. Because when you actually practice husnuzan ataupun you bersangka baik, or you actually practice empathy, you actually think about the good things. Or maybe have something happens to him. So we practice that first. Because if you cannot practice that, what happened in the office. For example, if something happens when someone actually reply to the emails in a very rude manner. Kadang office kadang-kadang you akan nampak ada email yang orang reply agak kasar sikit. Bahasa dia, kalau kita baca panas je. Ni panas kan. Why? Even yourself sometimes, okay, you tengok dalam group, dalam WhatsApp group, sometimes when people actually asking something in the WhatsApp group, sometimes some people actually reply in a very rude manner. But instead of kita cakap, budak ni kau ajar. Why not you say, kenapa dia reply kau ajar ni? Why? Ask the question why. And then you personally text him. You ask him or her. Tanya, sorry Amir, kenapa you message macam ni Amir? Isrin, kenapa? What happened? Are you okay? Normally you are not like this. Kenapa you tiba-tiba reply macam tu? Are you okay? Must be, maybe dia punya family dia tengah stress, family dia tengah sakit. Maybe ada ahli keluarga dia kena kerja alung. Maybe ada family dia tengah something crisis issue. Mungkin dia tengah gaduh dengan awet dia kan. Orang alah kan. Mungkin tengah gaduh dengan boyfriend kan. Zulaikha kan. Mana kita tahu kan. Tak ada bukan contoh kan. Bukan Zulaikha ni, Zulaikha lain. So masa tu, there must be a reason for that person to be rude. Because human as a nature, we are not rude people. We are kind human being. When suddenly some people actually becoming rude, there must be happening something behind the scene that we do not know. So practice empathy to ask them first. Discover what happens behind the scene. This actually applies to the working environment later on. Sebab, for example, if something happens in the office and you just terus serang orang tu kan, dia kata macam, contoh you pergi dekat orang tu, Nisa, kenapa macam ni? What happened to you? Kenapa you pergi kerja fail? This is not empathy. Maybe you kena duduk, sit down here. Nisa, I see your performance actually dropping for the past month. What happened? Are you okay? Do you need any help? Are you actually overloaded with works? So this is how you practice empathy. Because if you do not practice empathy from the beginning, from today, the moment you actually enter the working environment, it's going to be hard for you to develop that empathy skills. Bukan tak boleh, tapi lambat lah. If you want to climb that corporate ladder faster, leadership skills is one of the key traits that most of the young generation nowadays lacking. Why is it lacking? Because they do not practice patience. Why tak ada patience? So there's a few things that we have to understand first. The first one is because of bad parenting. Bad parenting. Cakap apa awak pula. Kita pun mak ayah salah ajar ni. Alia marah mak dia kan. Ni masalah mak ayah lah, mengajar macam ni. Janganlah pergi kat mak bapak pula. Mengajar macam tu. So, apa dia? What does bad parenting happens to be? Not every parents, I won't say every parents, but some bad parenting happens here. For example, kalau you tengok zaman sekarang, ada tak parents marah sebabkan something happens in the school? Dia marah cikgu, jangan pukul anak dia something. Padahal anak dia memang buat benda tu. Tapi the parents actually come to the school and scold the teacher. Marah cikgu tu. Dia tak boleh bagi anak dia marah. Anak dia sakit sikit tak boleh. Yes, betul. Sometimes as a parent, we need to know the limitation of what kind of punishment that anak kita boleh terima. Tapi if your daughters or your sons actually happens to do that kind of things, how many parents nowadays yang actually pergi ke sekolah and terus pergi tembak cikgu or pergi sekolah and tembak the other parents, something like that. Why? And this is actually a bad parenting because you are protecting your children and you are actually giving them the signal mengatakan, if you do something bad, we are here to protect you. You don't have to worry. So then, later on, the children will actually become apa? Bullies. Because they know, when they bully, the parent will actually bail them out. The parents will actually be covering for them. Mungkin dekat rumah dia jadi baik. I'm not sure because some people actually like that. Dekat rumah dia baik. And then depan parents dia baik. But at the school, they become a bullies. So bad parenting. Why bad parenting? Some actually bad parents bukan datang daripada parents yang kerja lama kat office tak balik-balik rumah. Actually the statistic or the research shows bad parents is the parents who are actually working in an environment that stress them out. A stressed parent who actually creates bullies at school. A stressed parents who create bullies at schools. Remember this. Meaning that in order for you to become not stressed at the office environment, make sure you know what is your purpose. When you go to the office, you know your purpose. you will not become stressed. So walaupun ada office mates yang tak berapa bagus, ataupun office mates yang panggil macam setan sikit kan, ataupun yang suka menyangka, ataupun suka tikam dari belakang ke apa, but at least you know your value. I'm going to actually stay here for 2 years or 3 years to gain my values in terms of this skill set. For example, if you are actually in the recruitment, so you actually wanted to master the end-to-end process recruitment from A to Z. Or if you were actually in the finance, you wanted to know about account, AP, AR, and account receivable, account payable, and then general ledger until you become a full set accountant, then only you actually wanted to move from that company. Even though there's a toxic environment there, but because you know your purpose, you know what is the value that you wanted to gain there, you actually stay there and you actually will not be stressed out. Less stressed out lah, tak adalah tak stress langsung, bohong lah kan. Tapi but at the end of the day, if you have that purpose, you know what you want, you actually focus on your things that you want, you become a good parent. And the good parents akan jadi create a good children will actually lead to better community. So if you tak nak ada bullies kat sekolah, it start from the parents. Sebab you tak lama lagi dah, and by the time 10 years time, you actually become a parents, and most of you guys. So you have to prepare from now. And you have to start practicing from now. You tak boleh kata, oh nanti ada jadi parents, aku practice lah. It doesn't happen that way. Because practice takes years and years and years. It takes patience. Ni apa tak balik patience tadi tu. So the next thing yang menyebabkan ramai hari ni doesn't have patience is because of the technology. If you can see nowadays, technologies creates what? Addiction. What kind of addiction? Bukan drugs. Bukan addiction towards what do you call it, alcohol. The addiction to what? Notifications, addiction to likes, addiction to numbers, addiction to being likable, being recognized, filter. Everything looks perfect. Macam kita tengok filter kan, sebelum dan selepas kan, kalau kiri ni muka lain, kanan muka lain. So nowadays I can see there's a lot of filters on there. But the problem with social media, it creates addiction. It's under dopamine punya apa nama dia tu? Hormones. So it's called dopamine. So dopamine actually release addiction lah, macam punya ni traits. So dia ada kalau you minum arak, dia ada kalau you hisap dadah, and dia ada kalau kita main selalu dengan social media. So what does addiction do? Same thing dengan orang yang hisap dadah, dengan orang yang minum arak, dengan orang yang kuat berjudi. Same thing. What is it? It actually breaks your relationship. You do not know how to create a meaningful relationship. You do not know how to talk to people. At the end of the day, what happened? You actually succumb to become apa dia? Addicted to what? Apa kita panggil apa? Addiction? Lupa lah terms dia. Penagih. Kan? When you become penagih to social media, when you become addiction to it, what happened? This kind of things lah. You actually burn out everything else. When you burn everything else, depression comes in. Correct tak? If you can see nowadays, why zaman ni, there's a lot of depression cases. Betul tak betul? There's a lot of cases mentioning that the students actually taking sabbatical leave, right? Semester leave. Why? Because of depression. Even sekolah pun ada students punya sekolah. Bukan sekolah menengah. You can see there's a rise of cases related to suicide cases. Betul tak? And guys, please laki-laki semua dekat sini. Okay. Kenapa guys paling ramai bunuh diri? Why? Why guys compared to ladies? Because guys doesn't know how to express themselves. Girls normally they are much more talkative. Ini patut masuk analogi pula tentang wanita. Kan? Wanita most of them they actually like to talk to each others. That's why sometimes most of the ladies they like to express themselves. Satu kalau dia nak bunuh diri tak sempat. Why kebanyakan wanita sempat bunuh diri? Sebab dia suka bercakap. Kan? Dia cakap, aku nak bunuh diri lah. Orang dah tahan dia. Tak sempat kan? Sebab tu kalau tengok statistik dekat Jambatan Pulau Pinang pun yang paling banyak mati is actually lelaki compared to ladies. Kan? Sebab lelaki dia diam je bunuh diri dah mati dah. Kan? Tapi perempuan dia tak. So it's very serious. Why this thing happens? Because of social media. The addiction to it. They cannot find the coping mechanism to actually come out from that depression. Because if you wanted to come out from depression, you have to make sure that you actually have a deep, meaningful relationship. But because of this generation, diorang tak tahu sebab everything semua benda dalam social media. Betul tak betul? You nak cari power, nowadays, you can just open your Tinder, swipe left, swipe right. Swipe right, swipe right, swipe right, match. Playboy. Nah, jadi playboy terus. Just by swiping right. You tak perlu pergi jumpa orang kata, hai. Tak pernah ada rasa awkward kan nak jumpa orang kan? Tak biasa praktis benda tu. You don't know how to be awkward in front of people. Because this generation doesn't have that kind of opportunity. Or it's not presented to them, but because of the technologies, it's actually taking out everything from this generation. Meaning that this generation, bila they fail to have that meaningful relationship, they actually focus on social media. Bila patah balik social media, what happens? Depression sebab tengok kawan semua dah berjaya, dapat kerja baru, dapat rumah baru, dapat kereta baru, dapat bini baru nombor 2 kan. So all these things kan, tak adalah contoh je Zalaika, marah Zalaika kan kami dua. So this is happening. So this is something that you have to come out and talk to other people. If you have any issues, you don't rely on your gadgets. Bukan pergi baca dalam teks how to overcome stress, how to overcome depression. Baca dalam tu. Tapi, okay lah, I dah baca. So I know how to cope with stress. No, you have to go out and meet someone and talk to someone. If you can see nowadays, kawan baik masih happy ramai. Betul tak betul? Ajak pergi makan, tengok wayang, semua ada. Kawan time susah, aku ada masalah nak cerita sikit. Oh ya ke? Aku tengah rank lah. Kan? Nanti kau balik, boleh tak? Kan? Tengah rank ni. Kan? Mobile Legend. Kan? Tengah rank. Kan? Tengah PUBG kan? Aku tengah chicken dinner ni. Kan? Jangan kacau, sekejap lagi aku kau balik. So, they cannot create that meaningful relationship because kawan dia pentingkan something else compared to them. This is what happened to you guys. You tak percaya, tengok. So, this is the generation yang based on the technologies, making that they actually like this communication skill. Because why? This communication skill is important for you to develop your leadership skills. Because if you cannot communicate with others, how are you going to become a good leader? How are you going to make useful conversations? Because a good leader spend their time to gain the trust. You tak boleh dapat trust by giving money. Tak boleh. For example, kalau you bagi RM5 dekat orang susah tu, Zulaika, kan? Contohlah Hakim, tak kisahlah Dini. Whoever bagi RM5 dekat orang tu. Ataupun, you take that person, bawa dia duduk, pergi makan, tanya dengan dia apa masalah dia, kenapa dia homeless, something like that. And you actually communicate with them, would that actually be beneficial to that person? Most of the time, yes. Welcome to Mobile Legends. Boleh Dini, nanti add saya. Okay? So that's the thing. So when this thing happens, and bila you buat that, when you actually spend your time and effort, not about money, to speak to them, to talk to them, these people actually appreciate you more. And that's how you create a bond. If you talk to your friends, you nampak kawan you sedih. It's like, contoh Azian kan, Dini kan. Dini jumpa kawan nampak tengah sedih, walaupun break up. Kenapa ni? Nangis kan? You actually jumpa dia, you talk to him. Dia kata aku lupa break up lah, awet aku clash dengan aku. Kan, jumpa lelaki power kaya. Kan, budak TikTok. Budak TikTok. Dia kata okay tak apalah, nah RM10, dia beli aiskrim. Boleh cakap macam tu? Ini, cannot do that. Most of the time what we do is we're going to sit down. Yang patut dia beri lah. We're going to sit down with them. We're going to talk to them. Tanya dia, what happened to you? Ini, are you okay? Oh ya, see. Dia memang patut pun break dengan lelaki kau. Dia pergi ke budak TikTok kan. Tak ada future ni orang. Jangan cakap macam tu kan. Tak baik pula. Tapi it's okay. Tak apa. InsyaAllah ada lagi jodoh yang lebih baik untuk kau. Kan? That's how you create meaningful relationship. It's okay, tak apa. Kau nak buat apa? Jom kita pergi buat something. To actually lupakan that perempuan tu. Kan? Ni Amber Heard punya gang ni. Kan? Amber Heard punya gang kan. So this is something that how you create a bond, strong bond. Do you think that kind of friends, someone who actually talk to you during your actually depression mode, will actually be there for you and during that time akan create strong bond? Adakah you akan ada feel kat dia? Adakah you akan appreciate dia more? Yes. True story ya. I had a friend of mine yang a few years back, rumah dia terbakar tau. Rumah dia terbakar. And then dia punya wife and dia punya anak dekat Indonesia sebab dia kahwin dengan orang Indonesia. So the wife and the daughter dekat Indonesia. So sebelum dia datang Malaysia, rumah tu terbakar, so dia tak boleh bawa dia punya family tu datang. And then after PKPs, baru saya dapat jumpa dia balik. Sebab kita orang game basketball, so kita jumpa dia. I just met him recently, last week. So when I met him, saya tanya dengan dia, what happened? Macam mana dengan dia punya rumah? Macam mana bro, macam mana rumah? Okay tak, sekarang duduk mana? So dia kata, oh ya, sekarang duduk dekat sini kan, betul-betul. Kau ingat lagi rumah aku terbakar? Ingatlah, wife kau dengan anak kau macam mana? Dapat dari sini? Oh dia kata, dapat alhamdulillah, sebelum PKP hari tu sempat datang duduk kat Malaysia. Dia kata sekarang duduk dengan diorang lah, sebab diorang dah dapat rumah kat situ. Betul lah, betul, tengok, itu rumah abang kau kan last time? Yang terbakar tu? Itu rumah abang aku. Betul lah, kesian abang aku. Dia kata dia baru, wife dia baru meninggal hari tu sakit jantung. Kan? So lepas tu dia cakap apa tu? Dia kata macam ni kat saya. Dia kata, thank you so much, kau ingat lagi ya. Thank you so much, aku ingat. So that is how you create a meaningful relationship. You remember the events that happens to him. And you tanya sincerely because you tanya dia, because you nak tahu. I doesn't come, saya tak datang dengan dia, oh ya ke, okay lah, nanti kau tolong vote aku untuk aku jangan lupa untuk vote ni. Kau tolong like aku punya post ni. Dia tak tolong like post aku ni. Kan? Bukan kita tak boleh minta favors. No guys, if you want to ask a favor from someone, from your friends, the first thing you have to do is to ask them the favor first. And then after that, you tanya pasal dia orang punya family. Bukan tanya family dulu. Ni datang-datang jumpa, Zulaikha, okey tak mak kau? Oh ya ke? Si okey okey lah. Tak ada, aku nak minta tolong kau ni kan. Ni kan, aku ada join insurance sekarang ni. Aku ada buat MLM ni kan. Itulah. So these people, they actually butter up just to make sure they actually lead to something. Apa perasaan kita masa tu? Kita rasa tertipu tak? Kita rasa dia orang tak sincere tak? That's what happened. Because this generation have been taught to do like that. If you nak something, you tanya dulu. Baik-baik tanya pasal family, kena concern. At the end of the day, later on, baru you minta something. No, the other way around. It should be the other way around. You ask them something first. Zulaikha, boleh tak kau tolong tengokkan ni? Aku ada jual insurans ni. Kalau kau nak, kau beritahu aku. Okay? Hari tu bukan mak kau sakit ke? Sekarang macam mana? Kena benda? Oh ya ke? Oh dah keluar lah. Okay. Tak apalah, nanti aku datang rumah lah melawat dia. Dah okay. You see, that's how you build a relationship. You tanya dia lepas you ask the favor. And you tahu dia tanya tu bukan sebab dia nak butter to something. Sebab dia dah minta awal. So this is how you create a bond. Leadership is about creating the bond there. You don't ask for favors. You ask for favors, then you ask them sincerely. A good leader is actually a person who can actually ask sincerely and ask genuinely about that person. Okay? So we come to the next point, which is instant gratification. Instant gratification meaning that someone tu bila dia nak something dia dapat cepat. For example, nowadays, perlu tak kita tunggu YouTube tu loading sampai dia dah penuh baru boleh tengok ataupun tak sangkut-sangkut? Ada tak masalah macam tu pada siapa kat sini? Anyone here ada suffer tak benda tu? Tak ada kan? Because zaman sekarang dah 4G. Kan? Majority semua laju je, cepat je. Kan? Why? Because data semua dah laju dah most of the time. Kan? Lagi kalau tambah 5G nanti. Ada kan? Ada sikit-sikit lah tapi tak teruk. Zaman saya dulu, masa saya start guna dulu YouTube, I have to wait like for an hour just to load satu video satu panjang. So that's why sometimes macam orang people doesn't understand the passion of that older generation have to wait an hour just to make sure that video loading sampai penuh tu. So this year, this generation, everything dia orang nak tengok semua cepat. Netflix, klik terus play. Nak tengok wayang tak payah lagi pergi tengok dekat wayang. You can actually just go and subscribe to the Netflix. Semua everything instant. You nak apa lagi instant? You nak makan, order Grab, food, Panda. Everything is instant nowadays, can be sent to you. Nowadays, there's no sense of waiting. The patience is not there anymore. Macam order barang daripada Shopee, lambat 2 hari pun dah mengamuk kan. Order Shopee. Kenapa lambat ni Saman? Kan? Nak saman Shopee dah. Sudah. So nowadays, everything is instant. You do not practice the patience to have something. Macam dulu, kalau orang hantar zaman surat dulu, 5-6 hari baru sampai surat tu. You nak order barang, 5-6 hari baru sampai barang. Nowadays, 1 hari, 2 hari pun dah boleh sampai that items. Kalau cepat lagi COD barang tu. So there's no more patience. And this patience tak ada. What happened to this generation? Diorang hilang kesabaran lah. Because patience is needed in order for you to develop something. And then comes to the corporate culture. Ni come back to the 1970s punya culture tadi tu. The corporate culture nowadays is because of they are focusing on the what they call it as a shareholder supremacy. Diorang nak you semua masuk office kerja macam Bangla. Betul tak? So Bangla macam mana kerja? Kerja datang, jangan complain anything, buat kerja balik. Semua nak macam tu. At the end of the day, they just wanted to know they can actually pay you your salary. At the end of the day, they pay you your bonus, but they will take away the big portion of it. Betul tak? The bosses akan keluar kereta baru, Lamborghini baru, all the houses, kereta baru, rumah baru, isteri baru, semua keluar. Baru all these things kan, the bosses kan. But you dapat apa yang baru? You tak dapat apa yang baru. You dapat pengalaman baru yang ngeri saja. Kan? So all these things actually leads to the corporate culture. So how to change the corporate culture here? Everyone here have to create the new corporate culture by practicing empathy to your person on your left, to the person on your right. Because by practicing empathy, you can actually take care of the person to your left and to take care of the person to your right. Leadership is not a rank. Leadership is a person who actually willing to become a parent. A parent is not something actually being imposed on you. A parent is something that everyone have the capacity to become a parent. Not everyone wants to become a parent. Not everyone should become a parent. But if you choose to become a parent, you have to become a good one. You should become a good one. It's not a choice anymore. So if you want to be a parent, boleh tak you jaga anak? Lepas tu kalau anak tu buat hal, you cakap macam ni. Tengok ni exam makin teruk ni. Kan? Ni dah jatuh nombor 14 dah ni. Kalau keluar daripada nombor 15, tak dapat nombor 15 dalam kelas, hantar untuk dia adoption. Boleh je tu? Tak boleh kan? No, we cannot say that things to our children. The same thing in the company. Takkan kita nak cakap macam tu dekat office kita? Tapi berlaku tak in the office environment? Yes. Because we do not have empathy to our team. Unless you dah, okay, you have to understand something. It doesn't mean tak boleh ada, tak ada orang kata apa tu, disciplinary. Yes, you have to make sure ada discipline. If someone actually break the rules, you have to make sure they actually been punished based on the rules. You could not let them escape punishment. It doesn't mean that way. Kan? Okay, macam saya cakap tadi. So kalau you ada buat masalah, you kena have to be punished based on the rules and givens. That is a must. Kalau tidak nanti people akan rasa macam, oh, rules is just for someone else. It's not for me. Itu yang berlaku pada anak raja lah, anak sultan lah, anak ni kan. Ada anak-anak yang VIP ni boleh terlepas. Why? Because they think the parents can actually bail them out. Because they actually doesn't think that the rules applies to all. Kan? Kalau you tengok maxim dalam satu ni, law is actually maxim satu, law punya maxim. Maxim maksudnya apa ni? Quotes lah. Dia kata law is speak through one mouth. Undang-undang dipercakapkan melalui satu mulut. Maksudnya dia apply kepada semua orang. Itu maxim dia. It applies to everyone. No one is actually above the law. It should be that way. Tapi nowadays kita tahu, kalau you perasan, why we actually, most of us doesn't respect the VIPs in Malaysia. Betul tak betul? Most of us doesn't respect most of the VIPs. Why? Because they actually enjoy the perks of having a high salary. They enjoy the high allowances. They enjoy all the good benefits with the riders, with all the drivers, the company cars, the government cars, the housing loans and everything. By the end of the day, they actually betray your trust. They actually betray your trust because they actually try to make sure they actually gain something out of profit out of their positions. They're actually not doing it for the people. If anything happens to the people, they actually keluar ataupun tinggalkan benda tu ataupun just leave it to the people. Betul tak betul? It happens during PKP. You can see there's a lot of high ranking people actually use their powers to actually move from one state to one state, even though masa PKP kita tak boleh. So these people misuse their powers, misuse their positions in order for them to get their benefits. So which is actually yang dia kata macam rules doesn't apply to them lah. Then people doesn't actually have the trust to the management. That's why the older generation, what we call it as the dinosaur generation, actually doesn't actually have the votes from these youngsters. You guys. Siapa yang vote orang-orang tua ni? Jarang, tak ada dah. Majority of you guys actually focus on the youngsters nowadays. So it should be the good ways. It should be that way. Okay, so the corporate culture has to change from us. It cannot be changed by the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs have to leave them with. You actually join into the corporation, whatever corporation you actually join, you make sure that you actually stay there. Try to gain a lot of experience possible. Learn leadership. Practice empathy. Try to change the culture even from the below. Even the tail can wag the body kan. So kita boleh menggerakkan. Even kalau you dekat bawah sekalipun, if you ramai, dia akan boleh menggerakkan satu organisasi itu untuk berubah. That's why kalau you tengok in Selangor, ni bukan nak promote syarikat saya Selangor kan. That's why in Selangor, you can see there's a lot of people actually retire there. Why? Because of good upper management. Good upper management leads to people nak stay there for quite a long time. Saya jarang sebelum masuk Selangor, ramai orang dia macam saya tak pernah rasa macam banyak orang retire. Before this, prior to that, a lot of people macam my previous company is either dia orang actually lompat company ataupun dia orang akan bersara awal ataupun dia tak akan bersara awal ni maksud kata they resign without offer lah. Bersara awal lah, they resign without offers. Why? Because they actually too stressed out working in that kind of corporate environment. Okay, but in this Selangor, you can see there's a lot of people actually retire here. Kenapa mereka retire? Because they actually stay and they feel safe. The upper level management make them feel safe. When they actually feel safe in the environment, diorang rasa nak stay in the company. So that is where you have to make sure when you bekerja nanti, you akan ada orang bawah. It's either the junior people, the internship students, or the non-executive levels. Whoever they are, make them feel safe. Tanya diorang, protect them from the hardship. Make them feel as a family. If anything happens to them, you're going to be there for them. Okay? My boss, Raja Ahmad, Yang Mulia Raja Ahmad, royalty jugalah bos saya, head of department for the HR department. He personally tahu nama janitor ataupun pencuci in Selangor. He's the head of department. He oversees 500 people under him in the department itself, in the HR department. But he can actually know the janitor names. Because every janitors in the HR department. Saya terkejut sebab masa hari tu ada jamuan hari raya. Dia boleh kata, Ashikin, dah makan ke belum? So I was like, seriously? He knows? Saya pun tak tahu. Kita mana nak tahu asal nama-nama ni? But that shows leadership. That shows leadership. Leadership is getting the nerve, the capacity to actually learn their names sincerely. Aku pasal nama orang. Sebab if that person matters to you, you will actually remember their names. If that person doesn't matter to you, you won't actually remember their names. Tak percaya? Cuba ingat balik nama-nama cikgu zaman sekolah dulu. Siapa yang paling you ingat? Kebiasaannya cikgu yang paling banyak pukul kita, paling banyak marah kita. Why? Because they actually care about you. They don't want you to become a stubborn person. They want you actually to become sakit tu kan, dia sakit kan, tahu. Saya ingat lagi cikgu arwah cikgu Ismail dulu kan, cikgu kimia sekolah saya. Saya sekolah dengan Sain Muzaffar Shah dekat Melaka tu. Saya tu sekolah kat Melaka. Lepas tu saya sekolah dekat Datuk Palembang daripada darjah 1 sampai darjah 6 dan form 1 form 5 saya dekat Aikro sekolah menengah Sain Muzaffar Shah Melaka. So I stayed in Melaka for around 12 years or something like that. So that cikgu Ismail dia memang sangat-sangat garang sampaikan bila dia naik kereta dia je semua orang dah menggigil semua dah light off lah cepat-cepat. Kita orang sekolah asrama so cepat-cepat tutup lampu. Dia baru masuk kereta belum parking lagi, dia naik je semua dah light off. So that is the kind of fear yang dia bawa dalam satu asrama tu. But until now every single person who actually been in Muzaffar Shah actually can recall him. Although dia garang tapi orang still can recall him. Why? Because he give and leave that kind of impression to people. That's why when people actually care about you, they actually leave an impression to you. Okay? Tapi tak adalah, bukan nak kata orang yang tak care about you, tak. But these people actually care you more. Okay? So, if you want to be a good leader, practice to memorize every single person punya names. Not only their names, their family members punya names juga. Berapa orang adik-beradik diorang ada, how many family members they have, how many siblings they have, what is their parents' occupations, what is their siblings' occupations, what is their what is the spouse and isteri, husband, what they actually do for a living. And you have to get to know every single one of them. So if you get to know each and every single one of them, it shows that you actually truly care about them. That is leadership. Managing people is easy. Leading a team is a very difficult task. Okay, so that is basically about the traits that you need to prepare yourself in order for you to become a good leader. Okay, so try to practice empathy, focus on changing your corporate culture from below, and try to use less social media. Try to engage less your social media. Try to engage personally, front to front, face to face. I believe that is the much more a good way, medium of good way to actually communicate with people and to engage them. Kalau contohlah ada something, you tahu dah budak tu bila sebelah je kan, kalau duduk on stair, you know that person is actually just live next door and dia text something, dia tanya asking for something. Hey, anyone know about this thing lah? Dia tak tolong. Why don't you just go and just open the door, go to their room and mention to them, hey, kau tanya pasal ni tadi kan? So this is the thing, let me help you with it. Go and help them. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is a way to gain people's trust. When you ask for people for your help, people actually help you, you will actually gain their trust. Okay? Okay, pukul 9. Stop for a while. Ada tak soalan? Anything specific before we go to the slides? Kita tak pergi slide lagi. Any question from the crowd? You can actually use the chat box untuk share the questions, or you can also just unmute your mic. Can they actually unmute their mic, Zulaika?
Yes, but for now, it is a talk sessions.
Okay.
After the end of the talk session, this will be a Q&A session.
Oh, okay, sure, can, no worries. Okay, all right. So anyone, if you have any further questions, you can just type the chat box. I'll actually answer the questions at the end of the sessions lah. Okay, no worries. Okay, now I talk about dopamine just now. Dopamine is one of the hormones that governs addictions. So in order for you to counter dopamines, not only you have to you can actually use another hormones to actually counter it. For example, oxytocin lah. So oxytocin and serotonin, if I'm not mistaken. So these two actually you can gain by helping others. If you look into the 12 ways to overcome addictions, to overcome addiction to arak, and so if you actually addicted to arak, one of the way for you, there's 12 steps lah yang you kena buat in order for you to become sober again, ataupun you nak jadi orang yang normal again. So the last one, number 12 tu, is actually, dia kata apa? The number 12 step is the most important steps. If you doesn't fulfill the 12 steps, even if you have completed the 11 steps, you actually go back to become addicted to liquor. So dia kata the 12 step is to service. Give your service to others. The commitment to help other addicted person. The commitment to serve and remind others about addiction. Sebab bila you mengajar, you actually remind others, you actually reminding yourself not to become addiction. You actually, bila you mengajar, you actually give service to other people, you actually help yourself to become better and to actually learn from yourself and to make sure that you actually practice what you preach. Because as a person, sometimes kita ada that pride to practice what we preach. Betul tak? Practice what we preach maknanya kita kena practice apa yang kita cakap. Kalau kita cakap tak suruh bikin, nobody will actually believe us. Correct or not? Saya pernah kena marah pasal benda ni dalam group WhatsApp. Kawan saya WhatsApp, saya cakap saya suka menyakat orang kan. Saya memang orang yang nakal sikit. So saya suka menyakat orang dalam WhatsApp group. So there's one guy, one of my friends, dia tahu saya jenis yang macam tu. And then saya pernah tulis satu caption lah pasal something, saya tak ingat apa. And then dia mention dalam tu, practice what you preach. So I know it was referring to me lah. Because I've said that before, tapi I tak practice masa tu. But until today, I remember that. So it become a lesson to me. So learn from your mistakes. It's okay. You're actually going to commit a lot of mistakes in your life. It's okay. Jangan takut buat salah. Kan, ni semua nak perfect. Everything have to be perfect. No. There's no perfection in this world. Please. Filter semua tu is fake. Do not fall to that. Do not fall to this false picture, optic. All these things looks nice, but the reality in this world doesn't. Dunia ni dia tak indah. Because why? Dunia ni bukan syurga. The world is not heaven. The world is created as a stage. Dunia ni kita sebagai pentas. Everyone here is actually playing their roles on the stage. Okay? Once the stage is done, then we will be judged by the judge lah. And dunia indah kalau ada tuan. Janganlah. Saya tak ada kan. So this world is a stage, and once everything is done, kita akan dijudge. Siapa yang akan judge? Tuhan lah. That's why in this world, kalau orang kata nak semua senang, doesn't happen that way. Even in Islam, as a Muslim, manusia yang paling baik as a Muslim is Prophet Muhammad. Why? Because he never lies. Dia tak pernah menipu seumur hidup dia. And Nabi Muhammad ni, dia tak pernah menipu ni. Bukan dia cakap. Yang cakap ni adalah musuh Islam sendiri. Kan? So orang Arab jahiliah masa tu, yang cakap Nabi Muhammad ni jujur. Bukan Nabi cakap. Dan dia kata kalau kita tahu apa yang Nabi Muhammad sampaikan benda tu betul, kenapa you tak follow dia? Sebab kita menjaga kita punya harta. So, kalau kita ikut Muhammad, kita terpaksa tinggalkan harta kita, pangkat kita, everything yang kita ada sekarang kita kena tinggalkan. Because of pride. So, we don't want to follow Muhammad. So basically, Nabi Muhammad manusia yang terbaik, tapi he is one of the person yang paling banyak tekanan dalam hidup. Betul tak? Banyak cabaran lah. And in order for him to preach the religion. Okay? The same thing with other prophets juga. The same thing with Buddha juga. This kind of people, diorang actually have a lot of followers. Not because they are the best, but not because they are perfect. Betul lah, perfect. Tapi because they actually endure the most hardships compared to other people. Can we actually compare ourselves to this kind of people? Tak boleh. Contoh macam Nelson Mandela. Siapa yang tak tahu Nelson Mandela? Pergi Google nanti. Nelson Mandela is considered as one of the best leaders in the history of mankind. But why? Why Nelson Mandela is considered as one of the best leaders? Because Nelson Mandela endure a lot of things. Dia masuk penjara berpuluh tahun. After that, dia cuba perjuangkan apa yang dia pegang betul, iaitu dia nak hapuskan dasar apartheid in Africa, South Africa. Dasar apartheid ni pada siapa yang tak tahu adalah dasar yang mengagungkan orang yang berkulit putih dan menghancurkan orang yang berkulit hitam. Basically macam tu lah punya dasar apartheid tu. So he is one of the leaders yang cuba menghapuskan dasar tersebut. And he become a good leader. And one of the stories, dia tanya, bila orang tanya, what makes he become a good leader? Dia cakap apa? Dia kata, during my early days, I always follow my father to a tribal meetings. Dia ikut bapak dia pergi tribal meeting. In the tribal meetings, dia akan duduk dalam satu bulatan. Bapak dia akan suruh semua orang duduk dalam satu bulatan. And then, the person to the left akan start bercakap and then pusing. Cakap. Every single person will actually give a chance, they will be given a chance to actually speak up in that meeting. And his father, as a tribal leader, will actually be the last person to speak. The ability to hold your opinion to the very last give two things. Yang pertama, dia bagi impression kepada semua orang yang masalah mereka sudah didengar, dan opinion yang dia akan keluarkan adalah berdasarkan pendapat semua orang. So that is leadership. The ability to hold back your opinions until you listen to every single person in the room's opinions before you make your own judgment. Sure, can, no worries. So basically, if you can see, leadership is not about focusing on your opinion. It's about other people's opinions that you can actually mix up and use it to gain the understanding from the community in order for you to make a comprehensive decisions. So everyone can agree with you. So jangan syok sendiri. Ingat duduk kat atas tu syok je buat keputusan kan. Tak nak dengar cakap aku. Tembak. Buang. No. Akilah dia buat macam tu ke? Sedangkan tak ada kan? So belum lagi okay. So that is how leadership is born. Okay. So I believe Akilah is a good leader. Because if not, the program would not be actually a successful one. Betul tak betul? You can see from the arrangement of the program, if the program is not being, kalau kurang daripada 5 orang masuk, obviously there's something wrong with the program. So if Akilah is doing the right job, a lot of people actually participate in the events. That's the indicator. Betul tak betul? So sometimes it can easily be detected by that lah. Tapi at the end of the day, results most of the times comes with time. You tak boleh expect people to actually change 1 day or 2 days time. You have to be patient, you have to develop their skill sets, and you have to make sure you actually train them. But first, you have to train yourself. So a good leader is someone who actually a subject matter expert in what they do, and they actually manage to actually teach others. But at the same time, have the empathy to make sure they actually did not judge others' capabilities to understand the same things in the same manner. Ada orang dia belajar cepat, ada orang belajar lambat. Sometimes orang tu jadi boss sebab kita angkat dia because he actually very good person in terms of that skill set. For example, someone who actually in the account department. He or she might be good with mathematics or accounts. Sangat bagus. Tapi bila kita angkat dia terlampau cepat, kita tak bagi the trainings to become a leader, they know how to do their job. So dia ajar orang bawah dia. The problem is they do not know how to do their job in terms of leadership. Because when you are in a position of power, your positions actually teach you to teach others to do their job, not to do the person punya job. Kalau you buat kerja orang bawah you, that's wrong. You should not be doing other people's job. You should be teaching them how to do their job. You should be guiding them on how to do their job. Okay? So that is leadership. Tapi at the same time, you need to know how to do your job. Kalau you sendiri pun tak tahu nak buat kerja you, macam mana orang nak follow? How can people trust you? So you need to make sure the first 5 years of your working experience, 10 years of your working experience, you develop your skill properly. You stay with one company more than a year, at least minimum a year or 2 lah, kalau boleh 3 tahun minimum. Then you actually develop your value, your skills. Do not be comfortable, try to improve yourself, learn. You can learn by video kat YouTube, you can learn by taking a master degree, you can learn by taking a certification, you can learn by joining a short talk dekat dalam online macam ni ke apa. Doesn't matter as long as you learn. Learning doesn't require certificates. Learning is about learning from everywhere around the world. Mana-mana you boleh belajar. Okay. Boleh tak kita proceed with the next slide? Siapa yang jaga slide? Okay. Know how to delegate. So this is back to the jobs just now I mentioned to you. You need to know how to become a delegator. Someone who actually know how to delegate the punya works properly. For example, I give you an example. I have 8 team members in my team at the moment, including myself lah. Okay, one of my team members I think ada kat sini, Zafira. So I need to know what Zafira punya strength. So Zafira punya strength, she actually a very good recruiter. She managed to close 30 plus positions dalam masa since February until today. 7th of February she joined at Selangor. Until today dah close 30 lebih position. 30 plus position tau. Mana kata 30 lebih orang dah masuk dalam Selangor. I know she is actually very good in terms of what? In terms of recruitment. That's why bila kita switch the team into two, I split the team into manpower planning as well as recruitment. So Zafira actually take the big chunk of it because Zafira have a very good understanding of how recruitment world works. Okay? But at the same time, as a leader, kita tak boleh bagi semua dekat dia. Pengsan dia nanti. So I have to make sure ada certain rules yang I have to do it as well. I have to give it to some of my other staff. I have to give it some to other my team members. I have to give it and I have to hire new people to actually take over some of the role from Zafira. So that dia tak burn out. So the ability to understand your team members punya capabilities but at the same time have the empathy to make sure they actually doesn't burn out is a very good delegation punya skill set. And you kena practice. So you kena tahu read your team members. You have to know and empathy. You want to read somebody, you have to read empathy saja. Tak susah pun. Like I mentioned, I always mention empathy because empathy is the number one skills lah. Okay. So if you actually can have the ability untuk tanya why this person, how this person, what is the person punya capabilities, why, how. I'll ask these 5 why lah. And W, 5W and 1H kan. So ask all these things and then you akan tahu lah orang tu macam mana. When you know your team members, their capabilities, their strength, then you can actually delegate the roles better. So that's why my team I separate into two, but at the same time, everyone know their roles. Okay? Make sure you delegate your roles properly, and kalau you tak tahu, you can make sure you ask them whether they actually burn out atau tidak. Are they actually listen to them? When you delegate something, sometimes it's actually overwhelm them ataupun it's out of their capabilities. You must make sure you sometimes you go and ask them sometimes. Sometimes certain people dia dapat kerja dia tak nak cakap dengan kita. Dia anggap benda tu okey je. Okey je kerja ni, tapi dalam hati hajar je bos. Lagi kerja banyak mereka ada suruh aku jadi MC hari ni. Aku tak nak. Contohlah. Tapi normally is understanding. It's about understanding. Okay? So that is something that we have to know how to delegate properly among your team members. Know your team members' capabilities, segregates the tasks based on their capabilities. Know how many your team members, then separate the task based on your team members punya numbers juga. Make it balance. Jangan seorang buat kerja banyak, jangan seorang buat kerja sikit. Jangan seorang buat kerja, lepas tu gaji, lepas tu appraisal nanti you bagi yang ni sama. Tak boleh lah juga. Dan the KPI have to be this one person better lah. Kalau dia buat kerja lagi banyak, the KPI you kena bagi dia lebih sikit. You have to be fair jugalah. Benda yang bagus, bagus. Benda yang tak bagus, you cakap tak bagus. I prefer you to be frank rather than you actually just nak jaga hati orang. Orang Melayu ni suka sangat jaga hati. Bukan kata jangan tak jaga hati orang. Just make sure whenever you nak cakap, make sure that things actually sampai. You nak berkias sangat sampai orang tu tak faham bahasa, susah juga. Betul tak? Sometimes kita orang Melayu suka sangat berkias. Pada dasarnya hamba rasalah sadarin seorang yang bagus. Tak nak lah. No, you have to make sure that person knows their strength and their weakness straight away. And that is purely based on the mission. Tapi cakap dengan cara yang elok. Next slide please. So, siapa jaga slide ni? Boleh ke? Nak share screen? Okay. Motivate others. A true leader should positively influence people. Motivations, dia bukan ajar orang saja, bukan cakap dengan orang, but motivate ni is actually, I love the word motivate by educating people. If you want to motivate people, give them knowledge. Don't give them speech. Don't give them hard talk. Hard talk, yes, perlu sometimes, but most of the times what you want to is to empower them with knowledge. Give them knowledge, new knowledge, something new. Give them something, a new challenge that they think they can actually explore. People love to explore things, especially your younger generation nowadays. Kalau kita tengok Maslow hierarchy of needs, dia orang punya needs sekarang bukan nak rumah, bukan nak kereta. Memang betul dia nak rumah, dia nak kereta sendiri, betul. Tapi most of the times you can see, most of the people nowadays they have that. Sebab mak bapak dia orang dah bagi. Majority zaman sekarang ni yang majority yang group, kita call it M40 to T20, their parents actually are able to provide to them. Dia makan, minum, rumah, kita semua dah ada basically masa peringkat awal. So what they actually seek out is actually a good passion ataupun a good vision. So give them motivation to work by giving them something new to do, by giving them knowledge. Jangan bagi diorang cakap kata-kata berapi-rapi kan. Sembang kencang-kencing berapi. Kan sampai tu, tapi at the end of the day after you keluar meeting tu dah tak ada je apa. I already give them some knowledge, input. They learn something new and then they actually practice it. Then they read about it something. So saya suka bagi short article lah pada tim saya. Tak ada selalu tapi kadang-kadang saya bagi. Contoh macam recently saya bagi 9 box script. 9 box script ni siapa-siapa yang rajin pergi cari. 9 box script. So 9 box script nanti dia akan cerita macam-macam lah pasal talent dan semua tu. So that is something yang you bagilah, article, short articles together with that box. So that they know that this is the knowledge baru yang diorang akan belajar. Give them something to learn. Give them something to motivate themselves. Okay, next slide please. Okay tak? Itu saya nak kawal tadi tu. Okay tak? Okay. Handling conflicts. Okay. Conflicts everywhere ada conflicts. Guys, please. This is patah balik kepada point yang the point of instant gratification, technology and everything. And communication lah basically. So handling conflicts, every other companies you pergi mana. Saya dah kerja dekat 7 company lah.
Dr. Khalid.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but
Sure.
this is the end. Should be the end of the talk.
Sure.
Can we proceed with the Q&A session instead?
Can.
Alright. Okay. Thank you very much to ENCIK ABDUL for all your great and insightful sharing. It is very valuable for us as a final semester student to gain such input for the benefit of our future knowledge. Next, we are going to proceed with the question and answer sessions. Audience may ask questions in the chat box below, or you may simply unmute your mic to ask any questions. Question will be addressed by our speaker shortly after. You guys can start to ask question now in the chat box below, or you can simply unmute your mic now. Thank you guys.
Okay, I can see there's a few questions here. The first question will be from Ami Irshad. I have a question in how to treat a workload given less like a burden. Okay, in your opinion, how to treat a workload given less like a burden? Every workload is a burden. You have to understand that first, Ami. Okay, what does it mean by workload? Workload is a work that will be given to you by your bosses, by your colleagues, by your superior lah. Okay. It's not an issue lah. Instead of looking at it as a workload, why don't you look at it as something that will give you values? Is it going to give you values? Okay. So for example, first before you start work, you need to know what is your passion, what is your vision, what is your something that you look upon at the end of your day. At the end of the day, meaning that, for example, like when I started career coaching, I have a vision. Like I mentioned earlier on, I think Zulaikha actually mentioned about it. I have a vision to make sure that every single person in this world, whenever they apply, they actually would not be able to. They will actually be able to apply for the job. They will not actually be discriminated. They will actually be considered for their roles lah, without any discriminations lah. So I think as a vision of mine to have that. Is a very good thing, because when you have a vision like that clearly, I know that is something yang very difficult for me to achieve. I know that one day memang akan benda tu akan datang, tapi maybe I'm dead already at the time. I might be gone from this world. But I know that vision of mine, someone will actually continue to pursue about it. So I'm working hard to make sure that my vision actually go through. So that is my vision. I know that one day every single person dekat dalam dunia ni akan dapat kerja tanpa ada diskriminasi. Every single time they apply, they will not be actually discriminated. So how to actually ensure that? So whatever I'm doing today, every single day will actually lead me to that particular vision. You do not have to have your own vision. You can actually follow someone else's vision. For example, kalau you follow Apple punya vision. What is Apple punya vision? Vision Apple is actually to, apa dia? Be different. They actually wanted to be at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, Apple, they wanted to challenge the status quo. They want the single person to have the capabilities to actually compete with the big organization. So that is what Apple is about. That is what they believe in, and they managed to do that. And even until today, Apple is still standing compared to their competitors. Why? Because the competitors wanted to beat them, but Apple wanted to be better than themselves yesterday. They are not competing with others, they're actually focusing on themselves. So that is how you should be focusing on as well. So kalau you nak tahu, you rasa workload banyak, you compare dengan siapa? Who are you comparing to workload ni? Dengan kawan you rasa kawan you kurang kerja, you dapat kerja banyak. You start comparing. Why don't you actually compare to the strength or weakness? You nampak you punya friends, oh aku tengok ni baguslah dia ni, buat kerja cepat je, pukul 5:30 dia dah balik. So I think aku punya time management yang lemah sebenarnya kat sini. So you look yourself, you look at the friends who are actually good and better than you are as your rivals, and your rivals will actually awaken your weakness. They will actually show your weakness. So look at your rivals, show your weakness, and improve your values. That is where you improve your values. Bila you nak improve your values, you have to do a lot of works. Bila you dapat a lot of works, tak apa. Kalau aku susah sekarang ni, it's okay. Nanti aku boleh make sure that this knowledge yang aku dapat ni, dia akan bawa aku untuk dapat kerja yang lebih better in the future. Atau gaji lebih besar, atau pangkat lebih besar. So kalau aku jadi mahir benda ni, nanti senang aku nak buat kerja ni cepat in the next day. So the sacrifice you actually make today is going to actually give you a value in the future. The world is actually fair. Whatever you do, everything will come back to you. Dia akan datang balik. You buat kerja banyak lebih masa daripada orang lain, you akan dapat, it's a compounding effect lah. For example, every day you actually work extra 1 hour compared to everyone else, you actually become a subject matter expert every day, better than everyone else. That's what happened to me. Peringkat awal saya kerja dulu, saya always spend sampai masa sampai pukul 8, pukul 9 malam saya balik. One of my company, I actually work until 9 AM. Sampai saya kena marah dengan my colleagues because my bosses, they actually mention to every single one in the office to follow Putra. Tengok Putra balik pukul 8, pukul 9 malam. And then they came to me, they mention, Putra, you balik awal lah, janganlah. Macam ni I kena marah tau. I balik awal I kena marah. So I punya sales tak cukup. But because I managed to achieve the sales, because I go back leads compared to my colleagues. So you have to make sure you give the extra hours. In your early careers, do not think about work-life balance. Just focus on getting value first. The work-life balance will come to you when the time is right. The work-life balance will come to you when you actually have the value in order for you to demand the work-life balance. Betul. Do not focus on work-life balance too much. The work-life balance doesn't mean you actually have to work 8:30 to 5:30. Tak. Sometimes you work actually from 8:30 to 6:30, but it's the balance because you know the value you actually give for 1 hour. Sometimes you kerja extra 1 jam tak mati lagi. Okay je, saya hidup lagi. So fun. So tak adalah saya suruh you kerja sampai pengsan, sampai depressed ke apa. Tak, no. But when you love something that you do, you will not think about it as a burden. You actually love to do it on daily basis. Love what you do. Try to learn how to love what you do by having a great vision. When you have a great vision, when you follow someone else's wishes yang memang you rasa you boleh pegang, you boleh grab, you rasa this is something that I wanted to hold on to, then you can actually work and doesn't think about workload as a burden. Trust me. Find your vision first, Hanif. Okay. How do you suggest a self-belief confidence in the team? How do you suggest a self-belief confidence in the team? How do you nurture a self-belief confidence in the team? Lazmi Syafiq. How do you nurture a self-belief? Self-belief comes from when you actually become a subject matter expert in something that you do. You cannot have a self-belief you do not have mastery in terms of what you do. Tak boleh. Contoh dia, I give you an example. Matematik. Kalau you buat mathematics, you buat satu latihan 1 hari je. Satu soalan 1 hari saja. Comparing to your friends yang buat 1 hari 1 buku. Siapa yang agak-agak yang nanti bila pergi exam yang confident? For sure someone who actually spend a book every day compared to the one question every day. Because they become a subject matter expert. When they actually spend more time and effort in order for them to become a master in something they do, they become, they will actually gain the self-confidence. Macam you bersuka main bola, you tatang bola, you nak sepak bola, you have to practice every day. You nak main basketball, you cannot shoot and dribble, you nak shoot and dribble every day, you kena practice. When you actually become a subject matter expert, then you actually have the self-confidence to play in the game. Michael Jordan, one of the best basketball players of all time, said he trains harder than the way he play in the game. the way he trains is actually harder compared to the way he actually play the game. Why? Because kalau dia train lagi teruk, bila game lagi senang. You should actually do things every day sampai yang teruk-teruk supaya bila the actual things come, it becomes easy to you. Macam exam lah. You buat latihan banyak-banyak, practice, baca buku, hafal, you become an subject matter expert. At the end of the day, it become easy tak masa exam? Yes. So, how to nurture a self-belief in yourself first. Then, the self-belief in the team will actually come as well. Macam mana dia akan ada in the team? When everyone actually trusts in each and everyone punya works. So, you don't have to go back and check every single person punya job. That's how you create a trust in the team. Because you can actually rely on your teammates to do their job. You don't have to double check their works. Betul tak betul? So make sure you become a subject matter expert. Have the capacity to train your teams, to train your colleagues, to train your friends. Give yourself, sacrifice your time to train others. Sacrifice your time to train others. If you nak ada a very strong team, you have to sacrifice your time. There's no money can buy teamwork. Teamwork only comes from training as a team. Okay? Hello, Ishrafil Israel. Macam mana sebut nama? Astaghfirullahaladzim. Ishrafil Israel. Hello, Mr. Khalid. Hi. My question is, how can we make our organization vision and mission more aligned? Aligned to what? Aligned to you? What do you mean by align? Align, if you're actually referring to align, you can't actually force you can have a vision that aligns with the company vision. But you have to make sure your company vision is something that parallel with your vision as well. Before that, you nak tahu benda tu align atau tidak. The first thing, the question you have to ask is whether the things that you're going to do in this company is going to give the value that will actually move your vision, that will actually move you towards your vision. For example, I give you an example. Previously, I was working on my own before I joined Selangor. The reason why I joined Selangor is not because of the good benefit. Betul lah, bagus, benefit bagus je, saya tak nafikan, gaji bagus, everything semua bagus, everything is okay. But one of the reason why is because when I joined here, during the interview, my head of department actually mentioned, he actually gave me the privilege to do the things that I want, and what the things that for example, like this talk, the improvement projects, he mentioned to me that he wants me to do that improvement project here. He wants me to do the things called ATS system, new resume systems, to manage filter the resumes and everything here. So he gave me the opportunity to move myself towards my vision. That is the main reason why I joined. One of the main reasons why I joined Islam. Because if you know from the beginning during interview, you punya vision and the company vision can be aligned, then you actually join the company. So this is the very early stage of but you have to know what is your vision first. You cannot align to the vision of the company if you do not know what is your vision. It doesn't work that way. You need to have your own personal vision. Like I mentioned, you have to follow the hierarchy, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Kalau you tengok Maslow hierarchy of needs, macam saya mention tadi, these youngsters nowadays, because of the generation previously, dah cover all the expenses. Nowadays, you focus on what? Human rights, kan macam LGBTQ lah, ataupun human rights status to Syria, Palestine, ataupun apa lagi? All this macam soup kitchen, all these human rights punya activists. Why? Because this generation doesn't think about the previous generation punya struggle lagi. Itu dah taken care by their parents. Their vision nowadays is to have their service by giving service to others. That's why you can see a lot of NGOs coming up. Okay? Why? Because the hierarchy of needs is nowadays is focused on servicing others. It's no longer about them, it's focusing on others. So you have to find something related to that as well. Doesn't mean you can jadi NGO, tak. Sometimes you can be like, for example, I can see if I work here, I can actually contribute my salary to this organization. Boleh, macam tu. Or you can actually mention that, for example, I need to be working here, for example, in this Petronas. Why? Because I can see Petronas actually focusing on renewable energy. So I wanted to be part of the renewable energy part in the Petronas team. You see, that is something that you need to find. Is alignment between yourself and the company punya alignment. Okay, so find your vision first. Explore. Ask yourself why. Jangan ada phone kat sebelah masa you tanya that question. You cannot focus if you have distraction. Try to have a very deep, thoughtful thinking on your own without any disruption for at least 5 minutes. I can guarantee majority tak boleh. Mesti kakak nanti tarik handphone pegang. Betul. Tak pegang handphone pun ada laptop kat depan mata. Try to close every single devices that you have. Have a pen and paper in front of you and start to ask the question why. What do I want in my life? What do I passionate about? What do I care about? How can I motivate myself to do this thing? What should I be doing by now? What should I be doing by 30 years old? What should I be doing focusing on by when I retire on 60 years old? What should I be doing by how I want to be remembered when I die? Ask this kind of question to yourself without any distraction. You answer that questions, only then you know your vision. Because your vision should be parallel with that. So that is the things yang you akan tanya, deep, meaningful thoughts yang akan create that vision for you. Okay? It's going to be hard. It might take you years. Some people might actually found it maybe a day or two. Some might take it months, some might take it years. Saya jumpa masuk umur 32 tahun. So I need 32 years old to find my why. It's okay, take your time. Don't rush. Be patient, sabar, but don't waste your time. Be patient doesn't mean you have tak apalah, it's okay, aku muda lagi. No, that's not being patient, that's being stupid. Okay, that's being stubborn. Okay, don't do that. Don't waste your time. I wasted my early days. Okay, if I were to go back in time, I would actually go back in time and I would actually focus on what I should be doing. I should be focusing on what should I improve, and I should be improving by now. And contoh, macam a few things lah that I need to improve. But what past is past. You cannot be dwelling your past. You should focus on your future. So, but whatever happens in your, whatever happened now is because of your past. But whatever happens in the future is because of you now. So focus on you now. Focus on yourself now. It's not too early. It's never too late. It's not too early, it's never too late. You have to focus now. Siapa yang cepat buat ni, these decisions to ask themselves what they want here, the one who actually going to, you can see, I can guarantee you, within these 10 years times, you can see whoever struggles today will actually come out on top when they are 30 or 40 years old. By 50, you can see, you punya scope of friends akan tinggal kecil. Your friends might be, from now, akan tinggal sikit je. Why? Because the few successful one already on top, and you are actually, nanti siapa-siapa yang tu akan feel left behind, and dia takkan contact you balik. I have a few friends yang dah tak contact lagi lah. Why? Because they felt they actually left behind. But it's okay. Go on and make a new friends. Okay? You cannot be, if you still be friend with them, if they contact me, I will contact them again. But if they don't want to talk to you, don't bother. Just focus on the future. Find new friends. A lot of friends, new friends will come to you. A good friends. Find a good colleagues lah. From now on, you kena cari kawan yang rapat, yang bagus. Yang akan support each other. Be in positive groups. Being in positive groups will actually help you a lot lah. Really, really help you a lot. If you are really in the starting in a bad company, you will actually suffer lah. Okay, I guarantee you will actually suffer if you are actually in a bad company. Because it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. You need to know that the environment actually reflects on how a person should become. You kena tengok environment you. Kalau environment you teruk, then you tak boleh grow. You have to need a positive environment. Okay. Thank you so much. Any other questions? It's all about patience, yeah. Everything is basically about patience now, but find your why first now. I really focus on why rather than your patient now. Because sometimes you do not know what is patient. So I think patience is important, but you need to ask yourself what and why first. Start with why. If you know what is your why, then you know what the rest will come actually towards that. It should be why, and then why, what, and how. Why first, what, and then how. Okay, that should be the order.
I think this probably questions will be the last question for the night. I think thank you so much to Encik Abdul Khaliq bin Abdul Rahman Putra for all the answer, and I hope all the question arise has been clear out. Hopefully, the speaker insight and knowledge sharing will be taken and implemented as effectively as possible. Okay, remember guys, if you don't have passion on the things you do, then it will then become a burden to you. Find your big why in life first, okay guys? Okay, now we will proceed with our photography session with our speaker. I would like to ask for your cooperation to turn on your camera for this session, okay?
Welcome guys. Thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank
Sorry
you,
sikit
Encik Abdul Khaliq.
campur-campur.
Technical team, can we start the photography session now?
All right, everyone. So, if you want to open your camera, you are obliged to open your camera. Is everyone ready?
Everyone ready?
So take a formal photo first. So I'll count on 3. I will screenshot the picture. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Okay. One more for informal freestyle. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, thank you so much everyone. And next, I will be again. Thank you so much to Encik Abdul. Thank you so much to Encik Abdul Khaliq Putra. Next, we're going to proceed with our Kahoot sessions. I will be passing the floor to our fellow committees, Saudari Dayang Karunnisa for the next agenda of the night.
Before that, thank you so much for your time everyone. Salah silap saya minta maaf. If anything ada further questions, you can please do not hesitate to contact me. You can actually follow my LinkedIn profile as well. Abdul Khaliq Putra is my name here in my LinkedIn. So if anything, you can just contact me through that as well. No worries. But I'm really sorry I cannot accept any more connection because limitation is around 30,000 connection only. So really sorry. Okay. But thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in future in life, inshallah. Alright. Wabillahi taufiq hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, Encik Abdul Khaliq. Okay, now can we proceed with the Kahoot sessions? Saudari Dayang Karunnisa.
Thank you, Saudari Zulaika. So hello everyone, my name is Dayang Karunnisa and I'll be hosting the Kahoot section. For UiTM student participant, please insert your metric card. Meanwhile, for another participant, please put your nickname. The third place winner will receive a cash reward of 10 ringgit, the second place winner will receive 50 ringgit, and the first place winner will receive 20 ringgit. So, without further ado, please click the link in the chat box to join. 2 minutes will be given for the participant to join before we will start the section.
Everyone can begin to click on the link to join the Kahoot session, okay? So Dayang Karunnisa, what do you think about the talk just now?
I think it's interesting and useful, and all the details are quite clear and easy to understand.
Yes. I think that's one statement that Encik Abdul Khaliq said that where Encik Abdul Khaliq said that people don't want to be managed, but people want to be lead. I think it's very, very related to us as a youngster because our generation is very rida, right? We don't want people to control us, but instead we want people to lead us. We really need like a lot of a good leader to lead us on a good path in life, I think. Okay, while waiting for everyone to join in, please invite more people to come because you know the more the merrier.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Come on, guys, click the link.
Please take this opportunity because the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first winner gonna win 20 ringgit, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, who's gonna give you 20 ringgit for free? So join guys. Anggaplah ini seperti skim cepat kaya. I mean. Okay, everyone can join now. We have another, I think we're gonna wait for another 30 seconds and then we're gonna start with our call session, okay? Okay, there's 40 people join. Oh, okay, it's already kurang satu. Do we want to start the Kahoot session now or in a minute?
Yeah, we can start now.
Okay, there's 40 participations. I think we can start now.
So if you're ready, let's go.
Okay, good luck everyone. Please grab this opportunity. Nak menang RM20 ni.
Okay, first questions. What is the title of our webinar tonight? Whether you are focused or not.
Okay, this is not a tricky question. If you're not focused, then you don't know. Okay, just like 5 people got it wrong, but it's okay. It's quite good.
Wow, it seems the MC is leading right now.
Okay, I'm not joining the Kahoot, but it's okay.
The next questions.
What is the second question? I cannot read.
A blank should seek out team members to see how they are doing and empower them to be more involved in the process. Is it true leader, boss, good leader, or perfect leader?
So there is a good leader. So let's see. Okay. Oh my God, so many people got it wrong. It's okay. It's okay. We still have questions to cover it, right? Okay, right now,
Questions like Ash.
Our first session also Ash, right?
Okay, next question. Says who?
Leadership and learning are in.
Is it Joe Biden?
Who is this? Who is this person? Is it Albert Einstein? No, it's. What's the answer? Oh, my line is so bad. Okay, Issa is on the lead right now. Come on, guys. We
Grab
still
the
have
opportunity.
a few questions, right? How
20
many
ringgit,
questions we have
20
left?
ringgit.
Okay, this is what going to be the answer? I think this is quite.
Let's see if you got it right or not.
True leader, true leader. Oh, so many people got this question wrong. But it's okay. We have another. How many questions left?
Okay, Isa is remain. Okay, the next question. What is the name of our speaker?
What is the name of our speaker? I think our speaker is still in this Google Meet. You guys can see. Yeah, true. It's Encik Abdul Khaliq Putra, not Cik Ahmad Putra, not Encik Ahmad Khaliq Putra. It's Abdul Khaliq Putra.
It seems like Ina is leading right now.
Yes. Leaders should not learn to recognize the value of team members and not let people to follow them. Is it true or false?
Hurry up, guys. Another 2 questions left.
Okay, the last 3 questions. Come on, guys. Oh, only 3 people got it wrong. It's okay. Okay, the last 2 questions, guys. Come on. Okay, Ina is still maintained. Ash on the second place. All right. Leaders have
Leader
to
has
be
to be honest and straightforward. Is it true or false?
Do leaders need to be honest?
Come on, guys. 20 ringgit is waiting for you guys.
20 ringgit, okay? It's true. Okay, the last question, guys.
Last one.
Okay, Ina is still on
Ina
the
is
lead.
still remain.
Wow. Okay, 20 question can survive this week. The
Last
strength of
question.
each individual member, the strength of each member is the team. Okay, who said the quote?
Is it Michael Jackson?
Oh, maybe Jackson what? It's Bill Jackson. Okay, quite a lot of people got this
Okay.
right. Okay, so
Congratulations to all the winners. Isa came in the third place. The second place goes to Ash. And the first place goes to... Ding, Ina. Okay, please screenshot the podium with your name on the screen and do contact our committees to claim your prize in the check box below. Thank you, everybody. That's enough from me, Dayang. Now it's over to our MC, Saudari Zulaika.
thank you so much, Saudari Dayang Khairunnisa. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation, and congratulations to all the winners. Okay, congrats to those who win 20 ringgit. Okay, before we end our webinar tonight, I would like to invite Saudara Rashidah to present the video on the recitation of Doa Rabita.
اللهم إنك تعلم أن هذه القلوب قد اجتمعت على محبتك والتقت على طاعتك وتوحدت على دعوتك وتعاهدت على نصرة شريعتك فوثق اللهم رابطاتها وأدم ودها واهدها سبلها واملأها بنورك الذي لا يخبو واشرح صدورها بفيض الإيمان بك.
Amin Ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you for the presentation of Doa Rabita Saudara Rashidah. So before everyone leave, I would like again to remind congratulations to all the winner. Please contact Saudara Amirah Haikal at 0111576721 to claim your prizes, okay? Okay, now before everyone leave, I would like to ask for your cooperation once more in filling out the feedback form, which will be linked in the chat box below. Please don't be shy to leave your thoughts onto this webinar. You can also, I believe you can also scan the QR code on your screen right now to give us feedback regarding today's webinar. Okay, guys? Please don't be shy. You can scan now, and thank you so much to everyone. And we have reached the end of our webinar tonight. On behalf of all the organizing committees, I would like to thank everyone for attending tonight. I would like to thank our invited speaker, ENCIK ABDUL KHALIQ, to Madam Chiu Ziseong, our program advisor, fellow committees. Thank you, everyone. I would like to apologize for any mistake made throughout the event. That is all from us. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great night. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chu.
you.
Thank you, Madam Chu. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chu.
Good job to all the committees. Sorry ada mistake a few like technical error tadi. So sorry.
Okay, it's okay. Benda boleh settle. It's okay. It's
Okay.
okay.
Akila is a good leader. Aduh.
Zulaika is a good
Salah.
host. Cuma ada tadi dia lupa nak unmute.
Tu tak perasan.
Apalah.
Tak apa. Kita tunggu like everyone leave dulu.
Thank you. Oh, dah boleh masuk dah. Dah boleh masuk. Arifah tu lupa kat tu. Tak mute.
Thank you, Zu.
Sama-sama. Tutup. Aduh, ya Allah, kebas.
Yeah. Woo!
Habis kan, Rishi? Dah habis.
Hi, Mat.
I think dorang maybe tak perasan kot dah habis.
Jadi diorang tidur kot.
Hi, Mat.
Saya ada question, do we have to do the postmortem tomorrow?
Not night lah.
Next week.
Tomorrow night ke or Saturday night?
I plan nak buat Saturday night tapi I kena discuss dengan Madam Chu dulu boleh ke tak buat Saturday. Kalau tak kita buat next week.
Next week, okay boleh. I think it's what jatuh.
I tak main kahut tadi.
Why
Dia
don't
orang
I?
jawapan.
Diorang semua jawab slow-slow.
Walaupun I tahu semua jawapan. Tapi I tak main langsung.
Okay, Sarah.
Okay, okay.
Memang tak join.
Siapa Ina?
Istilah
Siapa Ina?
Kroni, don't not me.
Siapa
Ina.
Nika, thank you. Yang present the slide, thank you so much.
Rasanya Teknika boleh kick people kan?
Nika, takutlah kena kick.
Boleh ke kick? Cak rasa ni diorang biar je ni Google Meet ni.
Rasanya
Biar je. Diorang terbiar yang Google Meet tu.
So kita boleh
Kick
kick diorang kan?
Technically mesti macam ni.
Don't stop believing.
Jangan.
Yeah, kita reach 130 audience. Audience.
Mantap.
Okay, jom makan.
Mantap.
Makan.
Makan.
makan apa
Seri
ni?
sahabat, datang ke seri sahabat. Mamak.
SDM belanja.
Let's go.
Alhamdulillah.
Let's go.
Alhamdulillah.
Nak celebrate 100 y'all.
Session 1 nak join boleh je.
Let's go. Mat.